Andrew and I lived in the city of York, England for 3 years. That's about 4 hours north of London. Fantastic city. If you love history, this is the city you want to go to and visit in England. Everybody who conquered England came through York. The Romans, in fact, it started as a Roman city. The Romans, the Vikings, the Normans, the Scots tried, they failed. But everybody, anybody who wanted to conquer England, they came through York. And so a lot of history, not just in museums, a lot of living history, like you can still see parts of the Roman and the medieval walls around the city. You can actually go stand on them. Just really cool. I loved living in this city. There was one place especially that I loved going to in this city, the cathedral. Now, I couldn't understand it. You know, they say that Aspies have a pet obsession. Well, for those 3 years, the Minster was my obsession. On my days off, I would come here and I would spend a good chunk of the day here just poking around, talking to the guides, learning everything I could about it, taking endless pictures. This is when I developed my love of photography and filming. Endless pictures of it. And I never could understand why. It wasn't until subsequent years, and especially since I learned that I was an Aspie, that it really began to fall into place. First of all, on a mental level and emotional, I liked the connection. This place has stood for 1,000 years. It started life as a hut. In fact, Minster means church in Anglo-Saxon. It started off as a little hut, a little church. And now, here, 1,000 years of history have come and gone, and it still stands. It's still there. You go into the Minster today, and there's all around it statues, memorials of people who died. All those saints, both men and women, 1,000 years worth of our Christian brothers and sisters who lived through terrible times, and yet they persevered in their faith. And now they're buried inside the Minster. I just loved having that connection to something deeper, to something more grounded. I loved the color. Oh, I loved all the windows and the idea of all the craftsmanship that went into it. In medieval times, you couldn't just go down to whatever store you go down to today, an art store, and buy your little pieces of glass. You had to make the glass. Before you could ever assemble it into a window, you had to make the glass from scratch and tint it with different minerals and such and pray that it came out looking right for what you wanted. And so just the idea of starting from scratch and building those windows and tinkering to get it just right. Oh, just magnificent. Mercy. And just all those soaring spaces, all that space, the quiet. If you go, especially on an off day or say earlier in the morning when they're just opening, quiet, away from all the bustle and the noise. You know, Aspies, that's another thing about us. We're hypersensitive to things like noise. And so I just loved being in the quiet. Well, since I've come to recognize that I have Asperger's, something else came into play. As I contemplated how much I used to love going to the Minster, I realized there were certain places within it that I particularly loved the most. And going to those places helped me find a sense of healing, of wholeness again. So That's what I'm hoping for you. If you come on this journey with me, and in our next video, we'll actually launch into going through the Minster. We're just going to go to certain spots. This is not a tour. You want the tour? Go there. One of their excellent guides will give you all kinds of great information. This is not a tour. We're going on a pilgrimage. So we're just going to go to certain spots within the Minster and then spend some time contemplating, meditating on God and how he can help us to find healing and wholeness.